Hey, Warrior Saints. This week, Deacon Greg and I are discussing the topic of how to keep other people's to-do list off of your to-do list. Glad to have you beautiful people with us as we continue our conversation from yesterday. Then to that point, I was thinking about, all right, so then it just shifts us into the next topic. What Moses did was he didn't decide, like this again goes back to that book, 10X, 2X. He didn't answer the question, well, how am I going to judge between all these people? After his father-in-law gave him that enlightening perspective, he decided who's going to do it. And he went out and chose people who, could handle those things. And I think this goes back to our original question, right? Getting stuff off your to-do list. How do you get to people? How do you handle all of the mundane things in life, but that they have to be done, right? You can't not do them. Great example. I have very blessed with an executive assistant, tremendous human being. Keeps me straight. I got so lost and bogged down in my emails and in my scheduling that I had no time to be with people. Like we were talking earlier, those 6 hours a year you have. I didn't even have that because I was doing all that. So I said, her name's Happy. I said, Happy, you're going to handle my email. It's just, so all the emails that come in, she handles and responds. Some of it, she doesn't know what to say, or some of it is private. She gets it to me. But for the most part, she's like responding and handling it. Same with my scheduling. You cannot book an appointment with me unless you go through her. Like I had to be that rigid because if I didn't, I was going to make a mess. So it's not like I'm, passing it off. She handles all of my scheduling. Everyone gets on my calendar through her. I said to my bride, I was like, hey, she's like, when are we going to dinner? Let's go on a date. I'm like, all right, call Happy. And needless to say, my wife was not happy, but it was like I was giving her a little grief, just teasing my wife. I schedule, obviously. But, the point I'm trying to make is that it's not like going out and look, here's a great one. We started with, what's the name of that software we use? Calendly. You remember that? Well, I'll go and I'll establish this system and I'll, implement Calendly. For those who don't know, it's an automated online calendar, appointment schedule, whatever. You probably have all used it or similar stuff. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. No, I let Happy do it. You know what I mean? And we now no longer have Calendly. Like she is so good at it. And actually, as weird as it sounds, she enjoys it. So why am I going to get in the way of handling scheduling? Why am I going to get in the way of emails, right?
Well, I think the key with that is that it then allows you to focus on the things that you need to focus on. So we talked about Matthew. The parallel in James, in the Epistle of St. James, is really what this is. Like, above all, my brethren, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or with any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no, that you may not fall under condemnation. With everything that we've been talking about, all of it is being able to focus on those things where you need to focus, focusing on those things where your attention is most necessary. The follow-up to that is, once you do agree to do something, then you need to be able to do it. You need to go after it with all of what you're going after it with. You need to put all your attention into it and really be able to buckle down and do it. Like I struggle with this all the time, with these boundary settings and with all these things that we've been talking about up to this point. Like my mom used to tell me all the time that I'm burning the candle at both ends and that at some point it's going to catch up to me. And, every so often it catches me. But by and large, like I have to learn how to function, knowing that that's my desire, to be pulled in all these different directions. But when James says to this, I mean, he really convicts me. Let your yes be yes. So if I say yes to something, then I really need to give it my all, and I need to give it all of my focus, and I need to give it my best work.
Yeah.
Which then means that I need to allow my no to be no, because if I'm not going to give it my best work, if I'm not going to be able to give it my full attention, then I can't actually pull it off. Totally. And I need to not do it.
Totally. Like I think about this that's a better question, but the first and the low-hanging fruit is don't say yes to an invitation and then flake.
Yeah.
I mean, no way. It's the most abhorrent thing in the world. If you need to plan your calendar 6 months in advance in order to do that, fine, but don't ever do that. More, I think, important, or at least more interesting for this conversation is what you just were talking about. Like if you're going to do something, you've got to be able to give it 100%. Give your best effort or give no effort. Don't get involved in it. Like I don't want to see mediocre work, right? I don't want to see, I mean, and hopefully I know that I have, but I don't want to put forth mediocrity. You want to give it your all. So if you say yes, do the business that it takes, right? I get it. It's hard too. I mean, like we all struggle. We all have, things coming at us, from all different angles.
All over the place. It's hitting you from all sides constantly because everything else around us is really pushing that it's okay to flake. It's okay to give mediocrity. As long as you do your best, just do your best and it'll be fine. No, not do your best. Give it your best effort. Try real hard. At least you tried. Like, no, when I say I want to give it my best, it's not that I'm just like trying at the level that you think I should be able to try. I'm holding myself accountable to a different standard. And I'll use the Steelers as an example. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm very unhappy with them at this moment. And you and I debate about Mike Tomlin all the time, right? Because Mike Tomlin is a good coach.
I like him.
He's good.
You don't think he's great?
I don't think he's great.
He's won some Super Bowls.
He won 2 Super Bowls, one of them with the team that Bill Cowher built, and he lost a Super Bowl. So that's
who did he lose that to?
He lost that to the Green Bay Packers. Thank you very much. But none of that, and to Aaron Rodgers, who they may or may not. Don't get Aaron Rodgers under any circumstances for all of the Steelers a front office that's watching our show right now. But Tomlin prides himself on this idea that the standard is the standard. And on the outset, it looks like it's this great mantra, right? It looks like it's this great idea that the standard is the standard and we will not do anything less than the standard. But if the standard becomes mediocrity, and that's what you hold yourself to, then the standard is not the standard that you really want it to be.
Right.
So you got to rise above that. You got to fight through that. You got to get better than that.
Yeah.
And like losing in the first round of the playoffs, but having a winning season is not the standard of excellent football. Hypothetically speaking.
Asking for a friend, right? Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. The Super Bowl. And look, it's funny, too. I don't want to get off into the NFL, but every team says at the beginning of the year, publicly, like, our goal this year is to win the Super Bowl. Like, they're all at least saying out loud that their standard is, to win the championship. Obviously, that readjusts very quickly throughout the season, maybe after week 1 for some teams.
Yeah.
Except maybe the Browns.
Yeah, that was decided before the season
Cleveland.
even started.
Sorry,
poor Cleveland. They're the butt of everyone's jokes, but they earn it.
Yeah. Maybe this is their year. Anyways, all of that kind of stuff. But it's a worthwhile point for our lives and a piece of conversation for us because, the standard should be in our lives to win the Super Bowl. However that, metaphor equates into whatever we're after. Like there's that saying that it's from Silicon Valley. Done is better than perfect. And I understand that too, because I can, analysis paralysis, right? And over edit so that I've never put anything out. And then it's got to be perfect. And I keep going and then, never gets done, never gets produced. So I understand what the point of that is, but done isn't better than perfect, right? And so I think perfect should always be our goal. That should be what we're going for. But as you are saying, you have to put in that requisite effort, the proper effort in order to give your 100%. And your 100% may be better than mine. It still doesn't preclude me from giving it, right? Like,
yeah. And I think we have to recognize that we're holding ourselves to that. What is that 100%? What is that requisite effort? And we can never expect others to do more than we ourselves are willing to do.
All right. Say that again. That's good.
We can never expect others to do more than we are willing to do. In other words, it's not going to be handed to you.
Yeah.
The excellence that you seek. Like I used to joke before I got married that it would just be wonderful if someone would just show me a woman and say, here's your new wife. Like that would just be easy. That'd be wonderful. That would be great. I mean, it might not be. But
90
it
Day
might be
Fiance, right?
90 Day Fiance.
Isn't that
Like,
what that
oh,
is?
that's a terrible show, but it's wonderful. But that would just be easy.
Yeah.
Instead, I met my wife, and boy, did she make me work for it.
Yeah.
Boy, did she put me through the ringer, and boy, did she make me really show that I was willing to put in the effort. And as she reminds me every time I remind her of that, she has been well worth it.
Yeah. I know she is for sure, but I mean, she's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm reminded of the quote from this movie, is the juice worth the squeeze? So like talking about orange juice, like, and you're juicing these oranges, is it worth it? Is the juice going to be worth the effort that you put in? And what I have found in my life is no matter what it is that I am striving for, when I have put in the work that I needed to put in to make it happen, it has always been worth it because the work was worth it. The learning happened in the work.
Yeah.
And has then made the results worth it because I learned so much through whatever I was doing.
So the means the end justifies the means, or no, that's not the saying. How do they say it? Is it the journey or is it the destination?
Yeah, the journey is the destination.
It's both. Yeah.
It's all of it.
Yeah. I mean, because you obviously want to produce a good result, but also, like, I think you're right. I mean, the process, man, who's that? There's another sports team. Their motto is the process. But I mean, the process, you grow, you learn. So yeah, you don't want to abandon that either. It's probably both journey and destination. Nice.
Yeah. And I think this stuff's been great. Like it's really been a great way for us to look at it and see things from a different way and a different perspective.
Hey, Warrior Saints, thanks for joining us. To watch the next part of the episode, join us again tomorrow. And as always, keep walking on the way of the Warrior Saint.